today's video I'll be talking about Halloween Resurrection. Everyone's entitled to one bad shitty sequel. Just when you thought the last one ended thinking Michael Myers was dead for good, but no, he survived. This shows that this movie's ridiculous from the start. This is another one of the worst ones of the series, and this one really killed the franchise. If genies existed, my wish is, I wish this movie did not exist. In my opinion, H2O was the final movie. This is basically the alien resurrection of the franchise. It was directed by Rick Rosendahl again, who directed Halloween 2 20 years prior. I'm surprised he directed this movie. He did a decent job directing a good Halloween sequel to the first movie, and he directed a bad Halloween garbage sequel. He has a cameo in this movie as a college professor. Big deal. I guess when you're a starving artist and not a highly big director like Spielberg, Kubrick, or Tarantino or Rodriguez, Hollywood's right, you can't say no opportunities, even you must direct a shitty Halloween sequel. Luckily, Rosendahl's had a successful career as a TV show director directing episodes of Smallville, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and other good TV shows. Before seeing this movie, I read it was a horrible one, but like a good fanboy, I watched it out of curiosity to see how bad it was. Boy, it was just a waste of my time. Watching this movie as a teenager, I could have wasted my time with other horror movies I had not seen yet to catch up at the time. What would they after the way H2O ended? That would have been the last one. But no, Michael Myers survived H2O and got away. He choked the paramedic, Michael Myers switched clothes, disguised himself, got away, and Laurie killed the wrong guy. Whoops! After killing the wrong guy, Laurie was put in a mental hospital. The fact that Michael Myers did not die in H2O ruined it for me. This movie did not do justice for a proper Halloween sequel. Seeing Laurie Strode in a mental asylum hospital after 3 years, Michael Myers shows up. Seeing Laurie Strode in a mental asylum hospital after 3 years, Michael Myers shows up just when she had him trapped. She's about to kill him, but she thinks twice to make sure it's not the wrong person this time. No, you dummy, it was your brother. He was chasing you. Is that enough? Michael Killer says, "I'll see you in hell." She falls to her death. Bye-bye, Laurie. Fuck you, Dimension, and fuck you, Weinstein, for sending a bad writer to a beloved horror icon, Scream Queen. Go fuck yourself, Harvey Weinstein. After Michael Myers kills Laurie Strode, he gives his knife to some random mental patient who has a fascination with serial killers, and he cites out loud who Michael Myers is. Why not bring back Laurie's son John back? One would think after her death, that's what the movie's main focus should have been on him, where he's on the search trying to find his uncle and kill him for revenge for killing his mother. Instead, this movie is a stupid dumb cliche stupid dumb teen sex comedy mixed in with a slasher movie you would have seen back in the 80s. Jamie Lee Curtis said she wanted Laurie to die because she did not want to continue with the series. I remember back when I first started watching YouTube videos on horror movies, fans pointed out they wanted to kill off Laurie Strode in this movie. Laurie should have escaped the insane asylum and saved the young college student on the TV reality show. Then Michael Myers kills her off. I don't know, whatever. Not like that would have made the movie any better whatsoever. After Laurie Strode's death, the movie goes downhill from here. Like mother, like daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis' mom died in the beginning of Psycho, and Jamie Lee Curtis dies in the beginning of this movie. I'm not sure what her screen time was in this movie, to be honest. Jamie Lee Curtis said in interviews that this movie is a joke, and I agree with her on this. Before this movie's final result, there was almost a possibility of going back what they did for Halloween 3. After Michael Myers died, let's go back to the anthology series concept, but then they thought twice thinking, nah, let's bring him back and not disappoint the fans again. As much as I'm not a fan of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, for once, I wish I was watching an anthology horror movie over this piece of crap. Daniel Farron, screenwriter of Halloween 6 The Curse of Michael Myers, pitched an 8th movie title idea called Halloween 8 The Lord of the Dead, which would have featured Laurie Strode as the main antagonist. His idea was rejected by the studio, but it was published as a comic book by Chaos Comics called Halloween 3 The Devil's Eyes. It was also a possibility they would have brought back Danielle Harris in this movie to play a different character. As cool as that would have been, but thankfully, she dodged the bullet with this movie. It was also mocking reality TV shows that were very big and popular at the time in the early 2000s. In a weird way, it was ahead of its time for internet marketing. The internet at the time in the early 2000s was not as big as it is now. In a weird way, it aged well in the future of the internet, what was to come. The movie is also going for the Blair Witch Project style with the characters' camera's point of view. The characters are so 2000s, cliche, stupid, dumb college students. They look like rejects and out of some of a poor man's version of Scooby-Doo. They suck. We don't care about they live or survive in Michael Myers' house. They have no personalities. Why would Katie Sackhoff's character take her top off when she knows the show is going live? You all might recognize Katie Sackhoff or be on the sci-fi show Battlestar Galactica. Her kill scene was cool. That's probably one of the few good parts of this movie, killing off these annoying characters because they stink. Thomas Ian Nicholson from American Pie in this movie is a cliche annoying douchebag asshole. Michael Myers breaks the mirror and slashes him. Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the deadliest of them all? I met him at Chiller Theater 2 years ago. I met him because he's one of my favorite baseball movies, Rookie of the Year. They basically got actors who were big at the time for teen sex comedies and putting them in a Halloween movie. I think this sounded like a good idea mixed in with Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks. Not a good combo. What's next? 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg? Michael Myers in the Hood? Michael Myers acting gangsta. Ryan Merriman plays a high school student, goes by a fake online name called Deckard, a reference to Blade Runner. Sarah has no idea he's a high school student. She thinks he's a college student. They never meet each other in the movie. But in one of the alternate endings they meet, he saves Sarah's life from Michael Myers, and he explains everything to her who he really is. Again, despite this movie sucked, this part predicted online dating, which was rare and not common at the time in the early 2000s. He's an okay actor, but he's not saved the movie. You may or may not know who this actor is. I'm a late 90s and early 2000s kid. I grew up watching Disney Channel movies in the 2000s. I remember he was in Luck of the Irish, Smart House. I know about that one, but I never saw it as a kid. Since then, he's had a solid career as a character actor. He was in 42 as one of Jackie Robinson's teammates, Dixie Walker. You might recognize him from other horror movies like The Ring 2 and Final Destination 3 from the 2000s. I grew up watching Smallville. He was on an episode I remember called Velocity. It was like the Fast and the Furious kind of episode. His character was a piece of shit, even though he's in a lot of debt, but it's still no excuse of the way he threatens Pete Ross. Despite how bad this movie is, it had some funny, humorous, stupid moments like Busta Rhymes' one-liners, "Trick or treat, motherfucker!" For those of you who may have not seen this movie, you might recognize this line from memes or parodies, or going Bruce Lee on Michael Myers kicking his ass. Or when he sees Michael Myers burnt up, he says, "Look a little crispy, Michael, like some southern fried chicken, motherfucker. Give me a break." Or during the show, Busta Rhymes' character dresses up as Michael Myers for the show. He confuses the real Michael Myers, thinking it was someone else. It felt like something out of the Yo Mama show, and Busta Rhymes just owned Michael Myers. He hits him in the head like Biff in Back to the Future. This moment felt like something out of a scary movie parody. Anytime I've gone back to rewatch this movie, I ask myself, how does one get Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks for a Halloween movie? It makes no sense. I don't see the connection. Plus, Tyra Banks sucks as an actress. She's not the first person that comes to mind for a Halloween movie. But then again, I'm not a fan of Tyra Banks at all, period. She's one of those fake people I can't stand. Busta Rhymes was in Finding Forrester. That was a good movie. But his character was minor, showed up every now and then. Don't quote me on this. I think his character was the older brother of the main character of that movie. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. This may sound weird coming from me. The stuntman who played Michael Myers in this movie, Brad Loree, did a decent job. You can tell he watched the first movie over and over again, tried his best to maybe Nick Castle's walk. At the time watching this movie as a teenager, I'm thinking to myself, if they did Freddy vs. Jason with Michael Myers in the fight back in that time, he would have been my pick to play Michael Myers. Brad Loree said the series went on, not the reboot route. He would have wanted to play the role of Michael Myers again. I also read that Brad Loree is not a horror fan, but yet he likes the Halloween franchise. Good taste and good choice. Not that I'm seeing enough to agree with me on this about the stuntman to play Michael Myers. This movie still sucked, but this is the one okay part of the film, the one positive thing. The mask was decent. It was almost close to the original mask, but again, not even close. Thankfully his eyes are dark. We don't see his eyes like we did in H2O. His fight scene with Sarah, the final girl, using the chainsaw, her lines are cringeworthy. "This is for Jen! For Rudy! For all of them!" Oh shit! The Michael Myers house, well, it's not the same house from the first movie. They did a decent job recreating the old Michael Myers house from the first movie. In Halloween 5, it looked like a mansion, and in Halloween 6, it looked like an average middle-class home. While it was nice to see the old Michael Myers house, it is not to save the movie. What was the point of the underground tunnel of Michael Myers' home? Since when did Michael Myers have an underground tunnel that we do not know about? It comes out of nowhere. To the Michael Myers cave. Da-na-na-na-na. This movie has 3 different endings. I originally wanted to show all 3 endings and made like the ending in Clue, but that just sounded dumb. Of course, they choose the cliffhanger ending where Michael Myers is in the morgue and he opens his eyes. The end. A stupid dumb BS cliffhanger ending setting up for a Halloween night that we never got, or we don't give a shit about at this point. I don't understand why they shot 3 different endings. Was this a sign they knew this movie was going to fail, that they had no idea themselves they wanted this movie to end? A wasted sequel that was not necessary. They should have just left it alone after H2O. It's the worst Halloween sequel in the franchise, right up there with Halloween 6. It's an insult to Michael Myers. It's a dumb, stupid, lame, cliche slasher sequel, bland characters, and a crappy story. As that guy said in Billy Madison, "What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, coherent response or even close to anything that could be considered rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumb for having to listen to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul." John Carpenter watched this movie once. He said this movie made him cringe. It's hard to believe this movie is over 20 years old. It hasn't aged very well. It hasn't gotten any better through time. The way they made this movie, it felt like it maybe worked as a parody to Michael Myers instead of trying too hard to make it a follow-up sequel to Halloween H2O. The weird part about this movie, I was 9 years old in 2002 when this movie came out. This is the first time I learned and knew about there were more Halloween movies. When I was a little kid in the early 2000s, when they rarely came out with a new horror sequel from an 80s franchise, they used to promote on cable TV, I'm not sure which channel. They would marathon all the Halloween movies to promote the new Halloween sequel. I remember me and my dad seeing, the promo. It scared me as a kid. There's not much I'd like to say about this movie. After this movie's failure, they went the remake route. See you next video.